This episode of the Reppin' the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh is sponsored by the Brodo Rockstar Group at eXp Realty. The home buying process is stressful, especially when it's your first time. The Brodo Rockstar Group is committed to giving you a stress-free experience while guiding you through the process from getting approved for a loan to getting the keys on closing day. Let their team treat you like a rock star. To book an appointment or to search all available properties in the Stateline area, visit buywithbroda.com.
Welcome back, Stateline.
Hello, Stateline area. Welcome back to the Repping the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh. Where's Josh?
So
he's not here.
I guess it's just two of us today.
So Josh is actually at camp this week. He's preparing. He runs a youth camp out of the Chicago area for children who have lost a parent to violence. And I mean, it's an amazing cause. We've all heard Josh's story, and we'll recap on that next week when we talk with Josh and he's here with us, and he can tell everybody more about the cause and how you can help volunteer next year. I know they need camp counselors. They need people that are willing to hang out with these kids and kind of mentor them for the weekend. And I mean, it's a great cause and something we definitely need to focus more on helping Josh out with. But
100%.
But we did it again, didn't we, George?
Yeah, we did it again. Last week, we apologize. We let the our scheduling conflicts and our crazy schedules last week take over, unfortunately, and we were not able to produce an episode last week. But because of that, we are bringing you episode 18 and 19 in one.
So a little housekeeping we got going on. One, again, we apologize. We actually had a couple of followers reach out to us last weekend, go, what happened? I went on and there was no new episode on Friday. So again, we apologize, but that's a testament to you guys. We do not have a podcast without you supporting us and listening. Next week will be our season finale
for season one.
We're not going anywhere, but we do need a little break. It's crazy this time of year, and putting three people's schedules together and bringing you content that's actually enjoyable and something you want to listen to is a little harder than we thought it'd be at the beginning. So
and honestly, that's probably the number one reason we missed last week is just we all have three very busy schedules, and we try to have a set in stone time that we record every week. And it seems like the last couple of weeks it's been moved, and to the point last week we just couldn't get it together. So we are here this week. We wanted to record this. It's minus Josh, unfortunately, but Josh will be back for the finale next week. We will take 2 months off. Our first episode of season 2 will air on November 18th. We are going to start bringing in some guests, I think, for season 2. It's one thing that we wanted to lay the foundation of, really build our characters up in this podcast, so you guys really understood who I was, George, who John was, and who Josh was. Get to know us a little bit, and what passions we have in the Stateline area, what things we do in the Stateline area, our families, etc., things that we get involved in. And next season we are going to start highlighting some more businesses like we have all season long, but this time I'd love to bring some people on as guest speakers, some interviewees, and really give you a chance to meet some of the better people of the Stateline area, and other than just us three. So you'll see that more for next season. Can't wait to get rolling for it. But yeah, we're gonna have a little break in between season 1 and 2, and then going forward, the format's really going to be 10 episodes and then a break. 10 episodes and a break. We just did a big 20 episode season for season 1 because we wanted to really lay the foundation. So
yes, and I mean, I want to say I appreciate each and every one of you people that are listening to us right now. Either if you're listening to us on a podcast, any of the podcasts, Buzzsprout, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. I was shocked that you could find us on Amazon Music. You could actually tell Alexa to play Repping the Stateline podcast, and it will come on. So
Yep.
I mean, I have friends that do this. It's nuts. But then you can also watch us on YouTube and follow us. You know, when you're on YouTube, subscribe to whichever channel is posting it. I mean, we don't have a Repping the State Line podcast YouTube channel. Maybe we should. I don't know. Um, but we're just trying to get you to the content whichever way you feel comfortable watching and listening. And if you don't want to do any of those things, just like the Repping the State Line page
On
on
Facebook.
because we post the videos on Facebook every week. So, um, how many people do we have on that page now?
I
Do you
was
know?
just going to look at that as we speak. Let's find it. Groups. Repping the State Line. We are up to 983. We are so close to hitting that 1,000 mark.
I know, and considering that when we started this season, we had 949 followers. So we've gained, you know, I mean, 30, 40 followers since
We've
we
lost
started.
some in between
We
because
have.
we took a year off, or
Well,
more than
COVID
a
took
year.
a year
COVID,
off on
yeah.
us.
COVID gave us a unfortunate left turn on our original programming for Repping the State Line, which was more of a video, edited video site / Facebook group that brought light things around the Rockford and the State Line area. And after
And we became famous for Taco Tuesday.
Taco
basically.
Tuesday, best then that was our highlight of our the original Repping the State Line. We were up to 940, like he said, and I'm sure we basically went silent for a year and a half, and
Well,
through
it was
COVID.
tough. Our last taco episode, I believe, was you and I in our cars
At
sitting in the parking lot at Fiesta Cancun.
Yep, in Roscoe.
In Roscoe,
And we were doing our
camera on each
distancing.
side.
Yep.
We did social distance taco tasting, and
Yep, and it just became too hard because the whole world shut down. So we took a break. And now that we resurrected the Facebook group and in a new format with the podcast, I think that it is a much more suitable, easier format for us to maintain and keep up and continue to grow. But we were on a thank out. We retained almost all of our followers. So yeah, we did lose some. Now that we became active, I'm sure people dropped off that lost interest, but
Right.
we've grown it back and we're higher than we were when we started and so close to 1,000.
well, considering this whole concept of repping the state line, I mean, you and I are both. I mean, I've lived here since 2001. I've lived in the state line area. You grew up in the Chicago suburbs, but you lived here since when? Like
2005.
2005?
And
So, I mean-
my wife grew up and lived in this area her whole life.
Right.
She went to Boylan. She's been in this area forever, and her family. So I married into a Rockford family, and I've been here since '05, really getting to know the area, and I love it.
Oh,
It's such a great spot to live. Cost of living is affordable. You're within an hour's distance of everything. I know we've touched
Right.
on it in the past episodes, but I mean it's worth bringing up again because it's so true.
yeah, we definitely are blessed in our location, our proximity to so many amazing metropolis areas, so many amazing. I mean, we have great schools around us, hospitals around us, manufacturing jobs. You know, there's just
Amazon now with
Oh.
fulfillment jobs and warehouse.
there is so much to do. I mean, where can you go and find so many career opportunities? I know there's a ton of great local businesses hiring all over the state line right now.
Mhm.
So I mean, Mike Wright over at Use Resources, a good friend of ours,
Mhm.
he has so many jobs and he doesn't have enough people to fulfill them. His agency puts people to work and they're high paying jobs.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, and then why do we want such a great community? Because, you know, that's what we do for a living. Real estate and, mortgage originating and refinancing of mortgages and insurance for Josh. And I mean, we love our town. We love our area and we want to share it with everybody. So we thought, let's talk about local businesses. And we had there was 10 of us originally when this started.
Yep. When this all started, we had 10 of us.
Local
All-
business owners that we
all
wanted
ages,
to represent.
different age groups, everything. And it was hard. It's hard enough to harness 3 schedules and sync them up, but 10 was really hard. And to produce content on a regular basis, I just feel it's much more manageable this time around, and it's grown. And I think that we figured it out. We did it the right way. I think podcast is the proper format. the proper medium to bring this attention, versus because we're not expert filmmakers.
No, we're not.
We're not
I
great
mean, they say everything
videographers.
is shot on iPhone, but little
Right.
shout out to Apple right now. But we have little stands and portable microphones that we use, and we're recording right now on a MacBook Air, and it's just this is what it is. We're not professionals. If you want the professional content, you go to the professional studios in town, or the people that do that type of content regularly, and they're
But there's
advertisers.
there's a cost
to
associated with that, and then that cost has to be passed on to someone. People aren't just going to spend that kind of money to produce free content,
No.
so they're going to charge, and they're going to charge for sponsors, and they're going to charge for this and that.
We're just trying to promote our area, our
Exactly.
business, and be really grassroots. I think that's the key to success in anything, especially our area. I mean, Winnebago Buy Local started. Wow, it's like 12 or 13 years, maybe 14 years now. And it started as a grassroots effort of local businesses that got together to figure it all out. And the organization is amazing. Now they hold conferences. They have a great conference coming up in October. It's a one-day event where they're teaching about social media and marketing, and it's like, I'm going. I mean, it was an inexpensive ticket. It's like $65 for a non-member ticket, and you get food, networking, and hanging out, and after hours.
I remember that they did it. They tried to do it back in 2020 again. Back when we were repping the Stateline, the original version, and they had to cancel because
they had to cancel, and then they went to in 2021. They did a one-day event.
Yep.
Because the other one was a whole day. This was like a half-day event with a few keynote speakers, and it is going to be an amazing time. I'm going to get that information. It'll be in the comments underneath, and in our description. I'll have the website you can go to get a ticket.
Yep.
But this is super limited to who can go.
Is it at Prairie Street?
It is at Prairie Street. I believe it is the Winnebago Buy Local Grow Conference for local businesses, presented by Winnebago Buy Local at Prairie Street. And
back in 2020, they were going to have like a VIP dinner beforehand, where you get dinner with the speakers.
They did that in 2019. That was their Social Rock conference.
Correct.
And that's usually done in May. They were not able to pull that off again this year, but Social Rock, you start at 8. It's a VIP dinner, networking dinner the night before. It was what was it the next morning? Next morning was breakfast. You went all the way through to like lunchtime. There was a short break. Then there was some breakouts, and there was more presenters. Wrapped up at 5 o'clock, and then there was an after hours event where it was like cocktails and appetizers, and you'd be done. You were there at 7:30 in the morning, and you were there till about 8 o'clock at night, and it was a full day conference.
But
it's phenomenal.
Tremendous, yeah.
And
tremendous stuff.
The board for Winnebago Buy Local, Lauren Davis, Skylar from over Culture Shock, Josh from Lucha Cantina, which we've eaten tacos there for our taco tastings, and then also Jacob with Rockford Buzz. I mean, they were amazing. I was on the board during one of those too, but I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm not on their board any longer because I work now for a large corporation, not a small grassroots business. But it's great. Great place to meet people and work together. So Winnebago Buy Local. If you are thinking about starting a business, or you have a business in town, go check them out. Go to one of their events. Let's promote some other people as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they have a Christmas walk?
Well, yeah, they do. There's a holiday market that gets done at Rockford University every year. During City Market, they'll usually do a table. They run the ice cream social every year. I mean, there's been a lot of events over the years. August, which was last month, is always Buy Local month. The mayor of Rockford presents them with the plaque. I'm calling it Buy Local month. Same thing happens in Rockton, and Winnebago County does the same thing. So I mean, it's some really good stuff. And just some great local business owners volunteering their time to make things successful. Lucette as well. Lucette Hair downtown.
I know what you're talking about.
Yep, and we were at her place for the event. I can't remember her first name, and I'm just having a brain fart right now. I apologize.
John's good for that. I mean,
it happens. I'm getting old. I'm getting older. It happens.
Yeah.
But So what'd you have? We always start off usually with what'd you do this past weekend? Last weekend was the
Labor Day weekend. Yeah. Last weekend, a couple of things I want to highlight. We talked about it and we knew it was coming. Friday Night Lights. It's here in full fledged. I went to my kids, they go to Rockford Christian. I went to the Rockford Christian football game. It was last Friday night. It was right off Bell School on the Bell School campus. And it was a phenomenal game. Went to overtime. Unfortunately, Rockford Christian lost. But, I preface that statement by the fact that last year, Rockford Christian didn't win a game. This year, they won their first game 14-0.
Right.
Then they took the second team to overtime, lost unfortunately. They play in Dixon this Friday, today, when you're watching this. And then next week is homecoming, and they're playing 7 p.m. Friday night at the Bell School campus. And I have a feeling they're going to win in Dixon, just the gut feeling. And if they do, they're going to come home 2-1 for homecoming. It's going to be a heck of a game. The thing that surprised me the most is I went to the game, and I know how bad they were last year. They just didn't have the talent. And I'm sitting there watching, and there's like 4 standout kids on that team that were just blowing me away with their talent and their skill. They looked head and shoulders above anybody on the other team as far as skilled players. Maybe their running back on the opposition was pretty decent. He had some good runs, but their quarterback and then 3 other skilled position players, I was like, who are these kids? And I look at the roster, they're all freshmen.
No.
I was like, no wonder they are so much improved this year because their top players are all freshmen. So go figure, they got 4 years of that. I can't wait to see what kind of team Rockford Christian fields 3 years from now.
And I know Rockford Christian, they're going to have a phenomenal team because their offensive coordinator is a good friend of ours.
Yep.
Coach Clyde McClintock. And he's another realtor in town. He's EXP, same as me. And Clyde's been doing Clyde coaches. He loves to coach young men, people.
He's got a passion.
It's a passion for it. And he loves football. He played semi-pro.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know. Clyde was a semi-pro football player, and he was a top realtor in the entire state of Illinois, all through the housing collapse.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So he was in markets. He's done real estate throughout the entire state. He's gone to Florida. He's coached children. He's coached adults. He's run groups. He's a mentor of mine. Ever since I started in real estate, we met and just hit it off. We've done a lot of the same circles of Wake Up Warrior and the Warrior Book group and other items like that. And
yeah, he's a great guy.
And he's straight to the point. There's no sugarcoating with Clyde.
Mm-mm.
He will tell you how he feels, and he will tell you what's on his mind. And that's what makes him a great coach, and that's what makes me a better friend.
Yep.
So shout out to Coach Clyde, the offensive coordinator for Rockford Christian. Homecoming, yeah, that's going to be nuts because I know my daughter's at Hononegah. We're in the Hononegah School District here in Roscoe. And welcome to my beautiful backyard if you're watching us on YouTube. But yeah, our homecoming game is on the 23rd of September, and the homecoming dance is on the 24th. And I know you're not there yet, but my daughter's already got the dress, the shoes, the necklace, the date. We had the homecoming proposal, like the proposals. Which her boyfriend James, great young man, very talented artist. He's 1 year younger than her in school, so that's kind of cool. But they're just great kids. It was cute, Showed up at her work. She works at Kid Spot over here in Roscoe. She's a coach like her mom. Coaches kids in gymnastics and runs some classes. And he showed up with a big sign, and I asked her to homecoming, and I think that was kind of cool. So it's great stuff. And
that's coming up.
Just wait until that happens with your girls.
Yeah, so that is actually the weekend after
your
homecoming. So yeah, so we've got a couple. I mean, we're right in the thick of Friday Night Lights. Yes. So that was a big thing I did this weekend. Another thing I want to highlight that not many people know about, and it's shocking because it's such a great time, is fire. Oh
Prairie Fire.
Prairie Fire. Thank you. Prairie Fire in Byron. So Byron is what, 20-minute drive,
if that.
If that. You just take 20, get off at North Second, go around the airport, and just shoot down North Second.
Yeah.
Or with Highway 2, or I don't know what is
It's
it.
Highway 2. It's
Highway
Illinois
2.
Illinois
Illinois
Route
2.
2.
Illinois Route 2 down to Byron.
Across the bridge is right there.
It's right there. Prairie Fire is awesome. Like, it is newly renovated. It is state of the art as far as like the amenities. The food is great. The drinks. It's you basically get a bay. It's basically Top Golf local.
Yes.
So I encourage, if you haven't given it a shot and you guys have heard of Top Golf, seen Top Golf, I know Top Golf's making a TikTok thing where there's stupid people that are, swinging the club and falling off.
Right.
It's becoming a thing, or a video that a lot of people are doing. It's that, but it's local level. It's supporting local. It's done by Byron, and it's amazing. We had a great time.
The Prairie View Golf Course. I mean, I don't know if you've ever golfed the course.
I have not.
I was out there for what's called the Irish Open. So the Shreenan Insurance Agency in town, they do a charity golf event. It's 13 years now running. I was at the I was at their 10 year, and I have a golf shirt I actually purchased from that 10 year, the Kelly Green, and it has the patch, the Irish Open on it and all. But they raise money for local charity, for youth organization. I think it might be Boys and Girls Club. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on this. But I mean, they play out there, and that course is rolling hills and pastures and trees. It's like it's got everything.
Everything
a golf. It has water. It has sand. It's got hills. It's got trees. It is a tough course to play, but it's a fun course to play. And by adding these bays now to their driving range, and the food, like you said, it is phenomenal. My family actually, we've done like Christmas Day there. I know it sounds weird, but during COVID, they were open. Outdoor golf is allowed. They were open, and there was nowhere to go, and we were just our local family. So our family, because my kids are older, 23, 21, 17, me and my wife, that's it. And with the extended family, we're not going to New York every year. And Venice's family here locally she has sisters and brothers, and they have in-laws. So some years we're all together, and some years we're not. So the years we're not, our family tradition is Christmas Eve.
Shogun.
We're a Shogun family. We go to Shogun on Christmas Eve. That's what we do.
Movie
usually on Christmas Day sometime. But then, what was it, last year or the year before, for Christmas, the movies were closed. So like, what are we going to do? Well, Prairie Fire was open. So we went out there for a bay. We ate some, cheese curds and onion rings.
They have like a tray, a sampler tray.
Sampler tray.
Yeah.
And we hit golf balls. And I was shocked at how many families were actually there that day. And you're all outside base. You got this little spot inside with a couch. That's where we ate our food and had our cocktails. Then you go out to the bay.
And they also have couches outside.
Yeah, and they have couches outside. They have fire pits.
Heaters above.
And it's all year round. They go all year round. I mean, we've done that multiple times. We did that the day after Thanksgiving.
And it's not expensive. We did 6, so it was my 4, and then my parents joined us. For 6 people, $70 for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the Top Golf's way more expensive.
Way more than that.
Yep.
And I mean, so you got your 70 for 2 hours, your food and your drinks, but where else are you going to go in town and have a family outing? And this is where the kids are off their devices. You're all just spending time together,
enjoying
and laughing, and missing balls and having fun. And they have some awesome games too, because they have tracers. So you could pick, and you could say, I want to play Augusta. And it sets you up on T1, and you hit the ball out into this open field, and it shows on a screen where your ball went on the course. And then you hit your next shot, and you got to pick your club and do all that. And it's really, really cool how the virtual reality and the actual golf we have going, they can merge the two and make it a great
It's very similar to what they have up in Beloit with Ironworks Golf.
All right, the golf lab.
But the difference is, at the golf lab, you're hitting at a screen.
Right.
You're actually hitting the balls out. Look, and you can actually visualize where you want to aim. You're hitting it, and it's flying there. But then they still trace it on the screen for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Just an amazing thing.
Those were the 2 big things that we did over the holiday weekend, other than clean out the garage and all the housework that needs to happen. But it was fun, and I highly recommend both. Getting out, supporting some local. Friday Night Lights and Prairie Fire, for sure. How about you?
Well, here in Roscoe, it rained and it was cold a little bit, and you know, overcast. So we didn't do much of anything, but in between the raindrops and stuff, we sat out here on the deck. My wife and I, we have a pretty decent collection of wine. So you know, cooked a little bit on the grill, had some wine,
I bet.
music, just relaxed. Didn't like took some days off because we've both been so busy with work.
Mhm.
It's her busy season. I mean, she's the gymnastics director over at Kid Spot. They're coming into competition season. They're learning routines. They're doing all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, so just getting 3 days with nothing to do. My kids were away. I mean, my daughter's off with her boyfriend at his family's house for barbecues with his family all weekend. My oldest son was up in northern Wisconsin with his girlfriend for the weekend. My middle son was over at one of his best friends for a cookout, and he spent the night. And so it was just the two of us and our dog. So we just kind of hung out here and just
Relaxed. Yeah.
relaxed and didn't do anything. Which now I'm like, oh, before the winter hits, I got to clean out the garage. I got to do all the stuff, get ready for winter.
What would be funny for our finale episode, because we're gonna recap some of our highlights from season 1 next week. We should do a highlight reel of John and what John does every weekend, and it would just be clips of wine, winery. It would just get. You ever see those videos of like I saw one the other day. My kid brought up where it's singing a song and then
Right.
it's using the
words that the
Yeah.
person says. Yeah, like I've seen ones where they've done Biden, they've done Trump,
Yep.
they've done other people like
Yep.
Dan Rather.
Yep.
Dan Rather singing what was it? Delight, Rapper's Delight.
Yes.
That is the
yes.
funniest one.
That's a good
Dan
one.
Rather doing Rapper's Delight. YouTube it.
It's funny.
Hilarious. But he has like 30 years on television. So you can
Mhm.
find those clips. But imagine the time it takes to find every clip that
To
somebody
match them
writes
up
something
and
down.
then edit those clips so that it's
Right.
perfectly
in sync with the
sync
music
with the
overlay.
Agreed.
So, but it's crazy stuff. This weekend though, we got big things happening in Roscoe. I know it's not homecoming yet in our area, but we do have the fall festival starting up. So the Roscoe Lions, and if you don't know what the Lions Club is, the Lions Club came about to provide glasses for people that needed them. I mean, that was their primary function when they
Function, yep.
started, was to help give people the gift of sight. And every year, it's usually the weekend right after Labor Day, they do the fall festival. So basically, Leland Park is just full rides and food and beer tents and live music. And there's a parade on Sunday, right downtown Roscoe, right down Main Street, and some great entertainment. So get out early, get your kids out there. They throw candy.
Nice.
You get to see all the cool cars and all the local businesses.
So that's happening this weekend.
That's happening this weekend, and I'm shouting out again for Kid Spot. They have an amazing, huge float this year, and
nice.
They're gonna have 2 floats. Element is their cheerleading group,
And then their dance group.
and then they're gonna have a second float.
Or gymnastics.
The gymnastics team is doing, which was choreographed by the Gold and Platinum girls. They choreographed the dance routine that all the girls that will be dancing behind the float will be doing. It's hard to do gymnastics outside of a gym. We all know that, especially on blacktop. But they always do a great job. They pick a great song and good routine, and just they've been learning it. They've been working hard. So I'm excited to see what it is. And I am super excited. This is the first year in the 14 years my wife has worked at Kid Spot, I am not driving a float.
So you get to enter.
So I get to actually go and stand and watch the parade.
You just want the candy. You just want the candy.
I do want the candy. Yes.
So we got that going on. What else is going on this weekend?
I'm looked a lot of stuff up.
I'm sure that we're also getting into the time where the final golf play days of the year are going to start happening in the next couple weeks as we wrap up the season. I mean, we're getting into fall.
Yes.
Fall is a love it and hate it season. Many people hate it because it's the end of summer and back to school, especially younger kids. Right. They hate the fall because they're back in school and they don't get to sleep in, stay up late, play outside as much because they're got to focus on schoolwork. Where this is my favorite absolute favorite. Football. I had a post that I put on Facebook the other day that basically said, favorite time of year. You got Monday night football, Thursday night football, Friday night lights, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL Sunday. So there's a football game 5 days a week that you can watch and tune into. I love it. I have a passion for football. It's by far my favorite sport, hands down.
I totally get that. And I get a lot of junk over the years too. I like fall. Don't get me wrong. I really, as I'm getting older, I really appreciate the summer. And we had an amazing summer here in Northern Illinois.
Yeah, we
I
did.
mean, it was not the super humid summer. There's a lot of days where you could just ride with the windows down, and sunroof open, windows down.
Like today.
Enjoy. Today's just gorgeous. I mean,
Absolutely.
I thought it was gonna be actually a little cooler when we started this morning, but
No, it's turning out to be
we're
a great
just
day.
having nice weather, and it wasn't extremely hot and humid all summer. I'm used to a lot of that. So I always liked fall because it was that relief. I
Mhm.
love that time of year where you can get up in the morning and throw on a sweater. By mid-afternoon, you're walking around in the t-shirt. Then in the evening, you're lighting a fire, sitting with a sweater again. I love, I like was an avid hunter for years, so I used to pheasant hunt and goose hunt and duck hunt, and that's all coming up. But those seasons all start in fall. I love campfires. I love the apple cider donuts.
Yes, I had my
And
first donut yesterday.
I have not been to the apple orchard yet, but
Edwards, it's
Edwards is open
Yeah.
and ready for business. I might. So a little hack I do, instead of going to the main one, I go to
The one on
the
West Side?
the west one, because it doesn't have all the fun stuff that the first one has, but you can get in, get a bag of donuts, and get out.
Well, my mother went yesterday or 2 days ago, and she got us a bag of donuts and a bag of apples. Honeycrisp apples are $16 a bag this year, but they're so good.
I know, but
It's
that's
my
a sign.
favorite.
That's a sign of the whole supply chain, though.
Yep.
The labor costs have gone up, seed has gone up, water's gone. Everything you need to do to grow a product has gone up. I mean, it's a sign of the times right now.
Sign of the times.
And
Yep.
unfortunately,
it's hitting even local Edwards apple orchard.
Yeah.
But
how much is a bag of donuts?
I don't know. That I didn't ask, but
Oof.
Honeycrisp I know is always one of the more expensive apples. Usually $3.99 a pound at store,
Right.
whatever, and not the 99-cent specials at Meyer or wherever you go grocery shop in Woodman's, Schnucks. But $16 for a bag. That was the first. Yeah, but hey,
But they're delicious.
They're
If you're
so
eating
good.
them and you're going with them.
absolutely.
And speaking of apples, though, like we were actually at Hope and Anchor yesterday.
Yes, we
you
were.
and I, and Coach Clyde. We do a meeting of sorts every other week out there. And we were talking about this. I really want to bring this up for Hope and Anchor because that's another one of those hidden gems of the Stateline area.
Oh, clam chowder
Their clam chowder, it's on the menu every day they're open, not just Fridays.
every day.
And they perfected, because they cooked this clam chowder recipe that's been the same recipe since the day they opened. And it is loaded with clams.
And it's large clams.
Large clams. And it is not overly creamy.
No.
It's a nice thickness.
It's a perfect consistency.
Right.
The taste is probably the best I've ever had
Right.
for clam chowder, and the clams are absolutely
And it's not
perfect.
overloaded with potatoes. You know how like
Yep.
sometimes they offset, they use really small. A lot of places, I'm not calling anybody out, but a lot of places you get a clam chowder, it's small clams, large chunks of potatoes. This is like the opposite. This is like finely diced potatoes and large chunks of clams.
And it's the perfect consistency. It's like it's thicker, so it's not like a soupy soup. And it's just so good.
It's a chowder. It's what
a
a chowder
chowder,
should
yeah.
be. This is New England at its best. I've had chowder in New England. And you go like up to Boston or you go up to like New Hampshire and you get a cup of chowder somewhere and it's like, oh, this is what that is.
Yep.
And
Highly recommend. If you're a big fan of clam chowder, and I know a lot of people that are, like there's just fanatics of New England clam chowder. You have that at Open Anchor, you're in heaven.
yes, and
Absolutely.
If that's your cup of soup. But all their food. I mean,
Their food is
on my
phenomenal.
recommendation, you tried their burger yesterday.
Their burger was great. It's perfectly done. You know,
And we know burgers. We do a
Yes.
lot of burger tastings.
it's perfectly done, well seasoned, juicy. I mean, No,
cooked-
zero
and
complaints about
cooked
the burger.
perfect to the temperature you asked for.
Yep, that was
Which-
important.
And that's hard. I mean, there's a handful of places that get it right every time.
Mhm.
Um,
And then you mentioned the other day, I think it was on our podcast, about the perfect pour for Guinness.
oh yes, so
They are one of the few that actually do it the right way and the right size. So you're getting an actual Guinness pint, not
Right.
an American pint.
so an American pint is
It's
16 ounces,
Yep,
but a true Irish pint, a Guinness pint, is 20-ounce glass.
correct.
And they have the proper glasses from Guinness with the etched harp right into the glass.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite things I like about there, because I grew up in New York City in a very Irish neighborhood. Most of my friends growing up were either first generation American or right from Ireland. Like
Mhm.
they just emigrated to New York City. Most of my friends in New York. So I grew up in a very Irish culture neighborhood. You know, my family, my dad's side is Russian Polish, my mom's side is Irish. So like it was nice to have some of that culture. And you know, to be able to come someplace here and get similar foods, similar drinks. They have Harp in a bottle, which is an Irish ale. You
Yep.
know, it's an Irish lager, and they do half and halves, which is Harp and topped with Guinness, or they do Black and Tans, which is Bass Ale from England, topped with Guinness. They'll do Black and Blues, which other ones have done it since. Like Blue Moon came out, so now they do Blue Moon with Guinness. It's called a Black and Blue, and then they do cider and Guinness, which is another great combination. But I love Harp and Guinness. It's like one of my. It's not as heavy as drinking a pint of Guinness, but it's not as light as a beer, or as filling as a beer. It kind of cuts some of those bubbles. So
Yeah, it was quite great place.
so
Great place
shout out to the team over there. Marsha, the bartender, is amazing. The food has been good, so I'm really enjoying the time we get to spend at their establishment. So that's one of our hidden gems of the week. Um, we talk a lot about Shogun and the Ponds, and we talk a lot about Francesco's, which they have a comedy night coming up, I think next month, which we won't be podcasting them, but if you get a chance to get tickets out quick.
It's
So
good stuff.
their comedy nights are usually the last Friday night of the month. I think it's the end
big-
of October.
The big news that was breaking today when I came over and I read it was that the casino finally got the green light.
That
to
is going to
break
be
ground.
amazing. Like I'm waiting. I have a mixed bag about some of this stuff. I don't like personally. I have nothing against gambling. Like go gamble, do what you want with your money. But having a slots place on every corner, that that's something I feel. I mean, it's great for businesses and people make money at, it, and people want it. Obviously, there's a demand. But personally, I want to go somewhere better than that. I was really looking forward to the casino because they will have show venues there. They will have high-end restaurants there. It's not just for gambling. You can go there and do other stuff. You can stay in the hotel, do a staycation. So I'm really excited to see this actually coming to fruition.
Yep, it's finally gonna break ground. So that's really the only big stuff that we've got for these coming weeks. And next week again, we're gonna do our
Season finale.
recap, season finale. Just kind of recap what we discussed all year and get a little bit of. Definitely want to hear how Josh's experience was this weekend
At the camp.
at the
Yep.
camp, and hear from him. We haven't heard his voice. Now next week will be 3 weeks for most listeners. So
Some because we missed last week. It'd be this
This
week,
week.
no Josh. So next week will be 3 weeks.
yep.
But those
So-
burgers were still. I'm still talking about the burgers he made at his house last time we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know. Maybe this little hiatus we take for the few weeks in between episodes, maybe we figure out a podcast studio. How do you guys like watching us? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, we struggle
when
with.
we're all together, or do you prefer when we're on like a Zoom call? Because we could record both ways. It's just
I like the mix. To be me personally, I like the fact that for the standard, it's the Zoom format, or what people say the Brady Bunch format.
okay.
I do like that because that's like our staple. But and then we sprinkle in a little bit of live like this, where we're with each other at least once a month to kind of give it a little bit of a difference variation. If we go solely to this, it's going to be more difficult because it's easy to compile 3 schedules, or easier to compile 3 schedules where you can pencil in an hour to
Right.
to record at the same time. It's harder to, all right, let's meet here, because now we're talking about half a day meeting there, getting everything set up, recording, editing.
Right. And we had other meetings here today, which
Correct.
made it perfect for us to do
Correct.
this
So
recording.
I like it. I think that it definitely should stay, but I like the fact that we go back and forth. I think
Right.
it's a great chance for the people that watch us to be able to have a little bit of variation. People that listen to us probably don't care, like you said.
Right. They just hear our
They just hear our
voices.
voices. So I think that
And maybe a bird tweeting in the background because
yeah,
I record outside, which will not be happening once the snow starts to fly. Just
I
so
would
you know.
love to send us feedback what you guys' thoughts are on that. I think that we have a nice mix. What we're gonna have to figure out how to work into a podcast format is these interviews. For those interviews, because we're gonna bring in new people. Is it gonna be a fourth person on the Zoom call, or
I
is
think
it
it'll
going?
have to be a Zoom for interviews. I'm
Okay.
just saying, it just makes it easier on their schedule too. It's a call in, it's something,
Mhm.
you know. But we'll figure that out. That's for us to figure out and for you guys to find out once we come back. But again, want to thank everybody for your listening, for your viewing, for your support. It means a lot to myself, George, and Josh. We really appreciate you following us, and we hope we're doing right by you guys in the state line. Um, remember, please, to like and share the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. On YouTube, do all the YouTubey things, the subscribes and shares and comments and ratings and all that stuff. And like us on Facebook, please.
Yep.
We wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you guys actually tuning in, because I don't think we would have made it to 18, 19 episodes if every week we looked at how many clicks and we saw 0. So we
Yep.
appreciate you guys for actually thinking we're funny enough to listen to in the background while you're tinkering in your garage, because that's what I heard a couple of people do.
Nice. Absolutely. And I'll leave this episode with one thing. This weekend, one thing I did leave out: opening season of football. Let's go Bears. Let's go Bears. I want when we record to be super excited because the Bears beat the 49ers in week 1. I will be there. I will be there starting Saturday for the night before, the morning of tailgating experience, the whole thing, and I cannot wait. So go Bears. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.